Each and every one of us has the potential of becoming a dinosaur. We rule the world for 1,000 years, and suddenly, in a flash, we become extinct. Okay, that's me a few weekends ago. And why am I sharing this with you? In March of this year, on a Friday afternoon, I was riding my bike home after work. We left quite early. We'd been working very hard on an RFP. And on Oxford Road, in front of the Standard Bank building, a car turned in front of me. I had no time to stop. I went flying straight into the car, over the handlebars. My bike ended up on a delivery scooter in the adjacent lane, and my bike was a write-off. Fortunately, I didn't get hurt, except I lost my confidence in my riding ability. So that's why I continuously go back to learn. And that's why I want to make the link between continuous learning, how we improve our lives, and how we strive to remain relevant. Imagine it's Wednesday morning. I know it looks like Monday morning, right? But it's Wednesday. And you drive into work and you feel there's a sense of discomfort. As you drive in, you don't recognize the place. As you walk through the door, the office looks completely different, and no one recognizes you. No one speaks to you. What has just happened? You've just become irrelevant. So what I want to do today is to use what I've learned in preparing for this speech about continuous learning to help you future-proof your career. There are a few of us in the room that's approaching that age, where we sort of don't know if we're relevant anymore. But I want you to take away these concepts and apply them and become a continuous learner. Hands up, who considers themselves a continuous learner? Okay, hands remain up. Okay, who's embarked on the hero's journey? Okay, and how was that? Okay, and for other people? I really struggled with it. I really struggled to find my way through the maze of the hive. But it doesn't matter, because the fact is, you are the hero of this journey. When it comes to continuous learning, you are the master of your universe. So where shall I start? The beginning is always a good place, and Claire, you can smile at any time. So this is Mahatma Gandhi, who lived in South Africa for a while. And Mahatma said, live as if you're going to die tomorrow, but learn as if you were going to live forever. Who's this beautiful man? So that is Jidda Krishnamurti, an Indian philosopher who lived in the late 19th century. And Krishnamurti said, education never ends. It's not as if you read a book and pass an examination, and that's the end of learning. He spoke very good English. He said, from the moment that we are born to the moment that we are die, learning is a continuous journey. One of my favorites, Albert, said, once we stop learning, we start dying. But enough with the black and white stuff. Who knows who this guy is? Okay? Yes, it's Stan Lee. Did you know that he was born Stan Lee, one word? But he was so conflicted writing Marvel comics in the 1960s that he actually changed his name to Stan Lee. When I heard about him, I thought he was Chinese, but he's not. So what did he say? He said, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said. I'll get back to Stanley. Guesses who this guy is? If I show you this slide? Dr. Seuss. And what he said is, the more that you read, the more things you will learn. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. There aren't many things that the bosses of Microsoft and Google agree on, but one thing is for sure. They only employ continuous learners, and they employ people that can prove their learning ability. But it's not only those companies. At BBD, we value and treasure the fact that people are continuous learners. Eric Hoffer said, in a time of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. When I was practicing, I said inherit the earth, and it sounded like I was preaching, but it wasn't. Okay, so let's talk about drastic change. In a recent benchmark maturity report, CEOs reported that the next 3 years will be more critical to them than the past 50 years. Just imagine that. So we're not all CEOs here, so let's make it personal. What if we have to survive our careers? In a recent report, it was stated that 47% of American jobs are at risk for automation. So if you were to learn a skill that would put you in that bracket, you would not be employed long term. On the other hand, foresters predict that we will be needing 500,000 developers in the next decade. So we're not all going to go back and start writing code and learn about patterns, but maybe, just maybe, harboring and harnessing the continuous learning skill may be what we need to survive and thrive in the future. Okay, so what is continuous learning? It's also known as pervasive learning, and it is learning at the speed of need using any of the modalities, whether it's formal, informal, or social. That brings us to the 70-20-10 model that was coined by Charles Jennings, and I think Tony used this when he launched the Hero's Journey. So what does that mean? 70% of our learning is gathered or accomplished by completing difficult or jobs or tasks. 20% come from other people, our bosses, colleagues, or mentors. Only 10% comes from books or formal learning channels. So what does it mean? We actually learn more outside of the classroom than what we learn inside of the classroom. That has taken us from pedagogy to heutagogy, and I had to go and YouTube the pronunciation of both of these words, and I can guarantee I've got it right. So what does it mean? Pedagogy reminds you of that strict teacher in the front of the classroom that was trying to teach you what he wanted you to learn. We have now moved to heutagogy, which is the study of self-determined knowledge. It is student-centered, and it concentrates on autonomy, capacity, and capability. It challenges teacher-led training. We have moved from knowledge hoarding to knowledge sharing. Okay, so if you are a continuous learner, what does it mean? You need to build the skill of learnability. So let's explore this word, learnability. It is the curiosity and the capability to continuously refresh your skills to remain employed in the long term. At last year's World Economic Forum, and those of you who attended my talk last year, thanks Matthew, it wasn't you, on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, that is where the term was coined, in Fourth Industrial Revolution. But interestingly enough, last year, for the first time, the word learnability superseded the word employability. So companies are more and more looking at employing or measuring learnability when they employ talent. So what does it mean to have learnability? It denotes a hungry mind. Have you ever thought of adopting and learning a new concept? Yes. How do you go about doing that? You basically have to unlearn and relearn. So it is the capacity and the capability to continuously refresh your skills finding ways to learn more so that you can remain relevant and stay active. Okay, so nomad. When I saw this, I knew I had to use it. What is a nomad? It's those nomadic knowledge workers that are creative, imaginative, and innovative, and that have the ability to work with almost anyone, not everyone, almost everyone, anywhere, at any time. So I hope you got that. I'm talking creativity and I'm talking people skills. I'll get back to this. Oh, another term, neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity or brain plasticity is the brain's ability to continuously grow and improve through learning.
Neuroplasticity. What if I told you that it was only a decade ago that scientists figured out that we can change our thoughts, behavior, and habits at any point in life? We used to think that it was much harder than that once we grew up, it was almost impossible to change the structure of the brain. You know, it all knit together, it was all simple. We couldn't do anything to change our circumstances, but the truth is, our brains are like plastic. Our brains are a dynamic, connected power grid, and if you learn the concepts of neuroplasticity, you can erase everything that has ever affected you and reprogram your brain with the principles, thought patterns, and habits that will make you the most powerful and successful versions of yourself. By strengthening neural pathways and understanding the fundamentals of neuroscience, we'll be able to apply neuroplasticity activities and exercises to be able to change the way you think. When we repeat an action or a habit, we're strengthening neural pathways. I'll help you hack your mind. Remove negative, limiting beliefs from your life. Boost the qualities and habits you admire. But most importantly, I'll help you gain complete control of your mind and dramatically improve your cognitive performance. Before I learned these concepts, I was stuck. And by learning neuroplasticity, I was completely able to change my life. I can't wait to show you how to rewire your brain. Together, we're going to take control of your psyche, optimize your brain function, and rewire your brain. If you can take control of your own thoughts, you can influence the world.
Unfortunately, there was only a trailer. I haven't found episode 1 and 2 to really learn how to do it. Okay, but let's talk about neuroplasticity. So there are 2 types. The first one is functional, and it's the brain's ability to move functions from a damaged part in the brain to an undamaged part. So it actually has the ability to change. The next one is structural plasticity. And that is the brain's ability to continuously change as we learn and we forge new paths. So, how do we improve our neuroplasticity? I'll give you a few tips. Have you tried moving your mouse with your non-dominant hand? Have you tried doing it for a few minutes and then you shift it back and you go, oh, it's so easy in my right hand? Brush your hair using your non-dominant hand. Get out of bed on a different side. So everything that you do that's different, that's not unconscious, means that you're expanding your neuroplasticity. Try getting dressed in the morning with your eyes closed. Just before you do that, make sure that you take your outfit out of the cupboard. But try it. Listen to a piece of music and beat your fingers to a different beat to the music. You are increasing your neuroplasticity. Whenever we do something new, we are growing it. Traveling is one of those things. Traveling to new places broadens and expands your mind. Except when you go to Pakistan. Okay, so when was the last time that you did something for the first time? I mean, it is just so easy to fall into the same things. It's easy living. Challenge yourself. Do something for the first time. Okay, so let's talk about building that continuous learning muscle. I wanted to use this image actually, but I thought it was inappropriate, so I stuck with this one. Okay, so how do we do that? You must want to learn. So you need to set a goal. Think about what it is that you want to accomplish. And there could be many reasons for it. You could be, you know that you're stuck, so why not do something inspirational? You could be frustrated with the status quo. Learn something new. Move out of your frustration. Or it could be for self-development principles. You have this innate feeling inside that you want to improve yourself. Or you might be very ambitious. You want to get ahead at work. What do you need to do? You need to learn. Or it can be seen as a status symbol. You want to be valued and you want to contribute. What do? Learn something new. Or you might just not want to be embarrassed any longer. So what do? You learn. Finally, it could just be the fear of missing out on something really important. Our skills and our capabilities are depreciating all the time, and it actually happens faster than what we realize. So, set a goal. That's the first thing you need to do to build your continuous learning muscle. In a neuroscience experiment, if you put one rat in a maze, and then you put one rat in a maze with other rats, and you give them the same puzzles to complete, did you know that the rat who spends time with the other rats, their neurons grow much faster than the lone rat in the maze? I know we're not rats in a maze, but sometimes it feels like it. We actually learn better when we socialize and we share ideas with people. We've got a goal, we need to be social. So, don't hide your ideas. Share it with the people around you. Use them as sounding boards. And depending on who you speak to, you might just get feedback or insights that you weren't expecting. As I said, it's very important to tell people what it is that you've learned, perhaps what you still want to learn. By framing your questions, you actually learn twice. You learn the first time around, and then you learn the second time around. What also happens in a social context is by sharing, you depart your knowledge or you pass it on to the people around you. Now that we've been social, we need to choose diverse resources. Who knows what building this is? Yes, it's a Pixar building. Yes. So Steve Jobs, when I was practicing in front of Paul, and I said, no, Steve Jobs designed this building. Paul said, did he ask someone to design or did he do it himself? That's not the point. The reason he created the Pixar building was to create a large atrium to inspire continuous conversations, unpredictable conversations that would allow collaboration and allow it to flourish. The point that I'm trying to get across here is that we need to use diverse opinions, people that you might not think you could talk to at work. Use them as part of your continuous learning circle. Also, depending on who you speak to, it could increase your serendipity. So that is when something really good happens that wasn't expected. Jobs said that the greatest breakthroughs happen at the intersections of different domains. So you know that you have to figure something out. Think about a different domain. Let your mind wander into the other domain, but still hold on to the initial problem or question that you had. You might have very different insights. Okay, so one of the greatest challenges in the knowledge worker's life, and that's all of us, is just that there is too much information. And we spend a lot of time wading through useless information. If you know how many pages of discourse I compiled to get to this presentation, and it just proves to you. So what you need to make sure is whatever the subject matter is, choose recent and the most valued or authoritative sites to help you grow your continuous learning muscle. Also, make sure that you break through the echo chamber. Who knows what the echo chamber is? I can't believe I have to explain this. No. So the echo chamber is where you only allow information and data in that supports your original position. So you don't allow any opposing views. So what I started off with was the ACE idea, let's just keep on feeding in that echo chamber. Okay, so look outside. 60% of all people say that they actually learn more from external sources than from attending internal training courses or attending a formal course. There are in excess of 3 billion blog spots a day, blog posts a day. Some of those could be relevant to you. Make sure that you start digging and that you find the sources of those blog spots. And bringing the outside in. If we are a company that supports continuous learning, we need to make sure that we provide information to people inside of the organization based on their preferences. And this could be any of our channels, feeding it through a Slack channel. We could be using Yammer, or we could be writing APIs into our Hive, dependent on what people prefer to learn. Now, no one can do your learning for you, but robots can help. So we could have a robot sitting there, dependent on what the preferences are, dependent on what the domains are that we want to familiarize ourselves with. Allow them to aggregate and consolidate the information. Instead of you looking at 20 websites every morning, why can't it just be a feed straight into your email box and you can scan through it? Okay, so what have we done now? We have put a goal together, we've been social, we've been talking to that guy at the office that we're too scared to talk to get a diverse opinion. We have looked at the outside, so we've identified sources to learn, and we've also asked the company to bring the outside in. The next step is to space your learning, and I wish it was as psychedelic as that slide is, but it's not. So what they've proven is that cramming is not a very effective way of learning. So instead of trying to cram everything, breathe, take your time, walk away from the subject matter and come back. If you are trying to immerse yourself in a new subject, set reminders for yourself every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and just quickly return to the key information. What they found is that when we take our time in learning, the learning is embedded and hardwired rather than when cramming it. Reflect and work out loud. So journaling is no longer for teenagers. Harvard research has found that get my stats right, that people who spend 15 minutes at the end of each day reflecting on what it is that they've learned are 20% more productive than people who don't. So write down a little journal just before you leave the office. What did I do today? What did I learn? And how can I use it going into the future? It's your own personal little stand-up. Also, by doing that and by sharing that information with people around you, you duplicate the learning. It is very, very important to have a growth mindset. So we start off, oftentimes what limits us the most is that we believe that we can't. We just can't do it. Someone else has got the talent. Let them do it. Leave it up to them. But what we need to work on is a growth mindset. And how do you do that? You believe that everyone, including yourself, has the ability and the capacity to continuously learn and grow. Okay, so what are the 4 essential skills that we need for continuous learning? So there's 4 C's, and then there's a P. The first one is curiosity, followed by confidence, creative thinking, and people skills. See the irony in the mummies on the people skills side. Okay, curiosity did not kill the cat. It actually just made the cat smarter. Curiosity is also the bedrock of LQ. Who knows what LQ is?
Love questions.
Oh, nice one. It's learnability quotient. So we had IQ, intelligence quotient. It was followed by EQ, emotional quotient, and now we've got learnability quotient. So, how do you build and improve your learnability quotient? Curious people ask questions. They ask whys and they ask why nots. Asking the right question at the right time is a fine art, and there are many websites that you can go and visit to look at how to ask the right question at the right time. Albert said, no special talent, just innately and passionately curious. We've spoken about curiosity, confidence. It is such a difficult thing to talk about. But if you don't have confidence, you have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem ends up in us not setting real or achieving goals for ourselves. We'll allow an opportunity for growth to pass us by because we think we're just not up to it. But the mantra is simple. Trust yourself, believe in yourself. Do a critical evaluation of your abilities and your shortcomings, and then work on them and improve them. Creative thinking. Creativity is the essence of inspiration and innovation and underlies everything that we do. How do we inspire creative thinking? We need to have inspirational habits and rituals. Whether you listen to music, or read a little bit, or meditate first thing in the morning. Find that one thing that sets you up to create for the rest of the day and start practicing it religiously. That will help you to create. Create something every day, whether you finish that app, whether you finish your Pinterest project, Louise, or for me, whether I finish that project plan or the Trello board. Create something every day. Some goals are just greater than others. And then finally, think devotion, not discipline. Let it go with your emotion. We've got a problem. I've got a problem, and I don't know where to go. The best thing to do is to walk away from it. Take a break, walk away from your desk, go for a smoke, go and chat to your mates, or just go and make a slice of bread in the kitchen. Inspiration hits at the strangest of times, and by walking away, you allow space for ideas to rise to the top. On the flip side, sometimes we've got so many ideas, we just don't know what to do with them. Write it down. Make a list. By filtering through the list, you'll be able to identify which of these ideas is the better one, or just filtering it, making it a shorter list. Also, we've got larks and we've got owls. Who works best in the morning? Not Max. Yeah. But we know innately when the best hours are for us to actually do something creative. If you know what that space is in the day, work your heart out, let the creative juices flow, and for the rest of the day, take the time off. No, not really, but use those hours to do something inspirational and something creative. Oh, forget talent and think grit. We often think that we just can't. Don't think about it. You just do it. We learn by doing, as we heard Don earlier on. It is when we do things that we actually learn. And it is by working hard, as I mentioned to you earlier, 70% of our learning comes from completing tasks. It's about hard work. Finally, the fourth important trait, our people skills. So what is this ethereal, ephemeral thing? What are people skills? It's about caring, it's about listening, it's about sensing, and it's about working with other people. So through personal influence, we learn to work well with others. If you remember my lovely slide on the nomads, they have the ability to work with almost anyone, anywhere. So whatever it takes to win this person over, to be able to work with them.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Okay, so today is not about what you want. It's about what I want. Okay, so the first thing is, I want you to think about adopting and adopt a continuous learning mindset. I want you to set a goal, and regardless of how difficult it is, go and register it on the Hive. I want you to start socializing your goal. Talk to people, tell people what it is that you're interested in, what it is that you are learning. Also, choose that guy in the corner office to check your ideas with. I want you to become a continuous learner because it is the only way that we will remain relevant and future-proof our careers.